This lesson is for grade 4. We are learning about perspective. There are a few numbers of different perspective. However, I'd like to actually introduce one of a basic perspective. It's called atmospheric, which is area perspective, which we are using the value scale and putting on in a landscape. As you see in this picture, you probably see the hills in the foreground that appears very darker color tones than those in the background. Okay, you see the scale that has a darker to medium and much lighter and becomes white, right? So from the foreground and the midground and background, you probably see the different colors then. That is called atmospheric, which is an area perspective. This is what you are going to create in your drawing. Take a look at this picture in a landscape. You probably see a little bit hazy on the way far, right? And then the one of actually mountain shapes that as you see it here, it's more like in a darker tone, right? You obviously see a lot of actually green tones in. And then it becomes a bit little lighter and hazy and almost like in a hazy gray and then a white. So you probably see also the realistic picture as well. And this is another example of an aerial perspective. Okay. You probably see the fields or mountains in a foreground that is very obvious look, and then becomes a little mid-ground, has a little more hazy and a little close to the gray or bluish tone, and becomes a lighter and becomes white to the end, right, in the background. And this is another example. Right? You probably see the forest shrub is very darker than those colors in the background, right? It's the same thing happening over here. This is also a good example too. Depending on the point of view, whether you are going to see the bird's eye view, most like in a bird's eye view, you probably see also look at the sort of scale of color. That becomes a gradient from the background and midground, and then the background, foreground and midground and the background as well. And this one also too. This seems to be actually painting, okay? But you probably see also the same happening from the foreground, the midground, and then the background. So take a look at this one. The colors are very darker. The colors are very mid-tones, and then very much hazy, very lighter and blurry, and then a white, okay? So let's just start drawing now. You're going to have a piece of A4 size of paper. You can put it in either horizontal or vertical direction, but I prefer actually working on the horizontal direction then, okay? So first, grab the pencil. Then I want you to actually start draw the little bit continuous line, kind of make a kind of nice and a natural hills on the background. So this is going to be the first step. And the second step, and you can actually draw the line down below, okay, but very close to nearer to you guys then, okay, just like this. Then after that, you can draw sort of like in a cityscape that look like more like a kind of a building, kind of a silhouette drawing in it, okay, and then I'm going down too. So try to draw 3 more lines to indicate the buildings. And maybe you can actually draw different types of a building structure, or you can draw just as you see over here too. So you're going to add up all building structures in the midground and up to a foreground. Right. Once you finish drawing of outlines, you need to start painting. Try to start with a background first. So I'm gonna actually start with white in the sky. Okay. Either if you have no paint, you can use an oil pastel. Okay. Then it becomes a very very light. Okay. Let's say if you are using a black and white, you need to start mixing with black and white, but maybe white might be a much more proportion then. Okay, so try to mix more whites and a little bit black to it at this time. Now once you start using either oil pastel, okay, or either paints, you need to start with white. Okay, sky white. Okay, and then becomes a very light gray, and then slightly actually darker, and then this area is a bit little medium tones of a gray, and a little more darker, and then complete chocolate gray. Okay, so you see the colors gradients from medium, more darker tones, and then very darker tones then. Okay, so medium to darker tones that you need to create then. And this is one of our student example. You probably see the color actually gradient and change from light to dark. So basically white becomes and hazy colors and becomes a darker and then a darker. You can use on the bottom as black if you want to. So this is the completions of one of our student pictures. This person definitely using violet and starting with white from the background, and then becomes a little bit lighter lavender or either purple colors tone. It's more very close to a light sky, I guess, and then becomes a little bit more darker purple and much darker, and a complete purple colors in, and then eventually the foreground the colors she or he probably mixed with some a little bit of navy blue and purple colors in. Okay, this is a color that you need to actually start mixing with it. If you don't have any paints, and you can actually work on the oil pastel, but make sure that you have to actually blend it well in order to create the scales in your sketchbook. Okay, so once you finish this project, okay, we are going to actually work on several projects in our sketchbook challenge. And then the first project we already finished, right? This is our second project. You need to complete this one, and when you come back to school, you should bring all your sketchbook by learning this program then. Okay, thank you for watching this, and if you have any questions, and please let me know through EAs, and I can respond it soon then. Thank you.